want to see you open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from our heart, filling every part of our praise. Show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. Show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from our heart, filling every part of our praise. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from our heart, filling every part of our praise.
6, 7, 8.
Good morning, everyone. Pastor G, Firmly Rooted Greendale Ministries. I hope you are having a wonderful Thursday. I'm actually coming to you from Wednesday. Woo! Back to the future. I pre-recorded this just because I've been getting some lagging in my live streams lately, and I don't know why that is. I'm working with my tech team here. We're trying a few things, but I wanted to just try pre-recording, see if that made much of a difference. Anyway, sorry about that. I won't be able to field questions in the comments today, but be sure to hit me up with any questions you have at russ@firmlyrooted.org. We have a great, just a highly underrated passage today that is one of the most beautiful acts of worship that is ever recorded in the scriptures. And I'm talking about the anointing at Bethany, so we'll get right there. Bethany, we'll just start there. I want to give us sort of just a context for where Bethany was. It was very close to Jerusalem, so you can see it is right southeast of the Mount of Olives. This would have been, obviously, we are getting very close to Jesus' crucifixion, and Jesus would have been in the vicinity of Jerusalem. So there you see Bethlehem over here, and we've got the Dead Sea over here, and the Jordan River connecting that with the Sea of Galilee. So I just always like to get our context here. That's where this is happening. Jesus is in the house of Simon the leper, and we could go into a whole devotion about why there's no mention of Simon being healed of his leprosy. But again, that's for another devotion. As Jesus was reclining at table, a woman came with an alabaster flask. And I just want to, we're just going to go kind of word by word here because it's really going to be significant as we look at what each of these items means. So an alabaster would have come from alabaster stone. It was a very precious mineral. It was soft, so it could be easily molded. This would have been found in plenty in the Middle East, but as it was so precious, it would have cost top dollars. So it was a flask that she was holding, and a flask would have been something that she could have carried, something like this, and you can see very shiny, almost you get the sense of like an emerald or some type of marble almost. But inside was even more precious. Inside was an ointment of pure nard. And nard was spiked nard. It was found in the Himalayas. Hibiscus plants carried nards, the nard oil. You would have, so it would have been almost like a precious oil. So you would have to really work with it, but it was found at these high elevations. So just imagine in India or Nepal, being carried all the way to Bethany. That would have upped its value quite significantly. And sure enough, Mark acknowledges that it was very costly. But here's the coolest thing, you guys. Look at this. She broke the flask and poured it over his head. Now, why would she break the flask? Well, she would only break the flask if she was never intending to use it again. And what a beautiful picture that is. She's basically saying, Jesus, this is of such value to me that no one else is going to get this. Only you. Isn't that a precious act of worship on her behalf? You know, I think about when we take time with Jesus, when we clear our calendar and we say, Jesus, only you are getting my worship or my prayer or my Bible study. That is so precious to him. She pours it out over his head, and this is really cool because here's just another picture of it being extracted in the Himalayas. But in the Indian language, spikenard is actually translated as locks of hair. And so you can see it actually kind of looks like hair, doesn't it? And so she is pouring it over his head. Well, who would have had their heads anointed with oil? Probably your mind is going to David and being anointed by Samuel. Well, what was David being anointed for? He was being anointed for kingship. She is saying, Jesus, you are king. Now, no doubt, the guys in the room are watching all of this happen. And do you think they're getting a little jealous? Absolutely. So much so that they say, why was the ointment wasted like that? For this ointment could have been sold for more than 300 denarii and given to the poor. You know, denarius was a day's wage. So essentially this would have been like a year's wage. So imagine your salary for a year. That is what she gave up for Jesus. And of course, they scolded her for this. But I just find it so ironic here that they would have never scolded anybody for sacrificing a lamb or a goat or a bull. If you think about how many poor could be fed by even just a lamb, by the meat of a lamb alone could probably feed people for a year. And yet they would never have dared to correct someone for sacrificing something to the Lord. But here, because she's sacrificing this for Jesus, they don't even make that connection that this is a sacrifice to the Lord. Do you see how she is honoring Jesus as King, as Lord, and they are dishonoring him? They're basically saying, you know, what's so special about giving this to Jesus, right? Wow, I don't even think they realize what they're saying. So Jesus is right here to say, leave her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has done a, what? Beautiful thing to me. So you guys, I just want to leave you with that. It's a beautiful thing when you get alone with the Lord, when you give him your time. It's a beautiful thing if you write out a check, right, for maybe for a ministry, for the church. That's beautiful too. But I think so often what is lacking in our devotion to the Lord is our time. So may you be blessed by this, dear ones. Get alone with Jesus. Break that alabaster jar of your time over his head and receive the fullness of the blessing that comes with that. May you have a firmly rooted day, friends, and may someone see Jesus in you today. God's peace.